Let's talk about Dredge, the creepy fishing game. You know, when I was a child, my dad used to take me fishing early in the morning. I loved it. He grew up near the Chesapeake Bay in Maryland, so it was in his blood. We didn't live close to the Chesapeake Bay, so he'd wake me up early. We'd have to drive a few hours down to the bay. We'd stop at a Dunkin' Donuts. He'd get a coffee. I'd get a donut or two. I'd probably con him into a couple of them. And then we'd rent an old fishing boat, spend the early morning hours fishing as the sun came up. So when the video game Dredge came along and I saw that it was a fishing RPG of sorts, and I saw this boat for the first time, it reminded me of fishing with my dad. And then you add in the creepiness layer of fishing in the dark, alone, the Lovecraftian creatures you might encounter in the dark waters, the scary lighthouse keeper, the weird fishmonger, the creepy music, the beautiful artwork. I thought, heck, Dredge might be the perfect creepy Halloween game, or the perfect creepy mystery game for any time of year. So let's get into it. Ahoy, mateys! I'm Clayton, father of three. Retro video games are a hobby of mine, as well as playing brand new games like Dredge, for instance. So if you're into that sort of thing, then please subscribe to the channel. Now, I just completed Dredge, and it was not a drudgery. I put in over 30 hours into this game, and I loved every bit of it. Even the early grinding, when your ship is not very strong and your fishing skills are subpar, like me at a age of 12 years old. So first of all, I bought the deluxe edition of the game a few months ago on a whim, and I really didn't know what to expect. I saw the trailer and I thought it was going to be the perfect game for Halloween, so I saved it, and then I cracked it open last week and I dove right in. Let me just say right out of the gate, I love this game. I love the atmosphere, I love the creepy music, I love the art style, I love the Lovecraftian creatures and the world building, I love the RPG elements, which we'll get to here in a moment. So I don't want to bury the lead. I love this game. I'm also not going to give you any heavy spoilers to the story in the game at all, just the atmosphere a little bit here. So let me just show you the unboxing here of the deluxe edition that I bought. It includes this really nice little art book. In an era when companies totally neglect putting any kind of manuals in the box, I'm a physical game collector, so I love this one. This one has a number of goodies in here that you can see. It has this really nice little art book that shows you the different concept art for the town, for the mayor, for the fishmonger, for the ships, for the fish. I love it. I love this little art book. It's really, really nice that it's included here inside of this deluxe edition. Next up, it also has a little sticker thing of fish, so a little sticker book here. And it has a nice little poster here. I'm going to put this up in my game room. I like this small little poster that's stacked in here. Also, it comes with a DLC. So yeah, it gives you a code for the Blackstone Key DLC. So a whole expanded story that you can play if you want to. That comes in the deluxe edition as well as this soundtrack bonus here. So a lot of stuff in this little deluxe edition for an indie game. That's really, really great. All right, let's get into the gameplay. You are a fisherman, but we never actually see your face, which is a really cool idea. You arrive on the dock of the town called Greater Marrow, where you basically get the job as the town's fisherman, and they're all too eager to hire you because the previous fisherman has just disappeared. So you get the job. You're in charge of the boat for the entire game, going from dock to dock, port to port, mission to mission, and they're not called missions, they're called pursuits, which I like, but we never see your face. So when you pull into the different docks, you interact with different townspeople who send you on different quests. They tell you different tales about the mysteries that have been unfolding in this weird fishing environment. And just like any good RPG, you have to grind a little bit. I like the grinding in this. I like that you have to go out and fish and actually bring back your catch to the different fishmongers that are scattered throughout the 5 different zones on this map. They'll pay for you. They'll pay for your fish if it's fresh. Now, if you don't get back in time, your fish will start to go stale and you'll make less money. And then eventually they will rot, and you're not going to make any money if they rot. So I love that idea. You've got to think about the timing. You can't just keep this fish in your cargo hold and hope that you can sell it 5 days from now. It's going to smell. It's going to be bad, and no one's going to pay you for it. Your ship is also a dredging ship. That's the name of the game, right? So there are so many mysteries of different shipwrecks and things that are buried in the dark waters that you need to dredge them up. And actually, dredging becomes a bit of a metaphor here, not just the physicality of going out and digging through the mud and pulling up buried treasure, but also pulling up buried memories. So in that way, it is like a metaphor. Things that people wanted buried forever. Villagers tell you, hey, leave well enough alone. Don't pull these things out of the bottom of the ocean. Leave them there. But of course, you can't just leave well enough alone. You're a dredging ship. You need to find out what's down there. So I love this. As you traverse the map, you're finding messages in a bottle, little pieces of information, and you pick up these little bits and pieces of information from townspeople. You combine that with the information from the things you're pulling up from the bottom of the ocean, and it creates a really interesting, creepy story that you get to traverse. And I was never really sure what time period I was in here, and that's part of the appeal as well. I'm pulling out these messages in a bottle from 1927, which is really cool. But am I in 1927? I was never really sure of that at the beginning. Really cool to think, okay, am I discovering something from long ago? But I love the idea of being in this town. There's no internet, there's no computers, just a man in his boat, fishing and earning a living, going from town to town, talking to lighthouse keepers, fishmongers, mayors, and mysterious people that you meet abandoned on the sides of islands along the way. It's just super creepy. Again, I'm really big into the music of video games, and I love the sound editing and the ambiance of video game sounds. And so a lot of the times I really want to play this game with headphones on, and I was traveling at the time, so I played a lot of it with my headphones on, and the ambiance, hearing the lapping of the ocean water hitting the side of the ship, the creepiness of the music as night falls, and you start to feel that presence of creeping things that are staring at you in the distance, the sounds of whales that are way off in the distance. There's even, at one point you see dolphins go by, and they're cackling at you, and the seagulls overhead. It's all very haunting. All very beautiful. One of my favorite parts of this game, and frankly the hardest part of the game, is after dark, when the fog rolls in a mysterious fog. It envelops these fishing villages, and the lighthouse keeper keeps telling you that it's only gotten worse over the past few years, all of this fog. It used to only come out for a portion of the night, and rarely. Now it's coming out all the time. And she's not exactly sure why this fog is becoming more and more prominent in the town. And as you travel at night, the creatures are more difficult. Suddenly rock formations pop out of nowhere, but you have to do a lot of the missions at nighttime. So you have to traverse and deal with these creatures. Rock formations suddenly appear out of nowhere that aren't there during the day, that really just kind of add to this creepiness of traveling at nighttime. There's weird energies that will suddenly surround your ship. There's creeping red eyeballs in the distance. There's also large sea creatures that will come after you and attack you, and you have to be very stealthy or have things in place to prevent them from attacking you, or they'll take huge chunks out of the hull of your ship. One time I was actually fishing with my dad in a ship that looks just like this boat, by the way, and a massive squall hit, a thunderstorm struck, and I remember not being scared at all, actually, but feeling protected by my dad. He took us into the shelter of the ship during this big thunderstorm. In the bridge of the ship, it was just like a little room, and closed the door, and the wind was whipping and the rain was pouring, and it was just unbelievable. And thunder and lightning, it was crazy. And we waited out the storm. This, like the waves crashing back and forth. It was just a crazy experience as a kid, but I felt totally safe there with my dad. This happens in the game. You get caught in a lightning storm in the middle of the ocean, and things could turn out worse than they did for me back in the 1980s with my dad in a boat. But this game certainly captures a lot of that feeling for me. Really, really great. Now, if I had one criticism of this game, is that the day turns into night so stinking fast, so quickly. So after a night of rest, you wake up at 6 a.m. on the dock, and you start your fishing day, and you go out to do your fishing quests, and a few minutes later, you'll notice the clock here as you're moving, it's already afternoon. You've just fished a little bit. And then before you know it, it's nighttime. But I guess that is like fishing, because the whole day can go by and you're like, oh my God, I only caught 3 fish, and I've been out here for hours. Why have I only caught 3 fish? So in that way, I guess it's kind of accurate, but holy smokes, just a little bit of time out on the water and it's already afternoon. And then you don't want to get stuck out there at nighttime. So you've got to get back pretty quickly. Anyway, I would like it if the game had a little bit of a longer daytime that I could experience, but that's the way it is set by default in the settings. Now, and if you don't get back, by the way, and you don't get enough sleep, your eyes will start to get bleary-eyed. You'll start to get red eyes, and the images on the screen will start to double up, almost as if you haven't had enough sleep. So it creates this sort of double environment, real disconcerting atmosphere, like I need to go to bed right now. I want to talk a little bit about the RPG elements of this game because you need to make money, right? Dredging up items off the bottom of the ocean that you can sell to a trader. That's one thing you can do. Rings, necklaces, trinkets, etc. But the other way, of course, is fishing. Different fish scattered across all areas of the map that some earn you more money than others. You have to sell them to fishmongers in order to make money. Then there are research parts that you need in order to advance your ship and make your ship more advanced. So you can build new fishing poles that allow you to go deeper or in shallow water or volcanic waters and other things like that. You need to level up in order to dredge up different lumber and metallic parts, and these things that you put together when you're in dry dock will allow you to make your ship even stronger, building out your hull, adding different cargo spaces, adding more fishing lines, adding more nets, all of those things. Collecting different items for the collector. Yes, there's a guy named the Collector. He will impart special powers to you that enable you to do different things in the water, like fast traveling and reaping of fish corpses and stuff. So a lot of really interesting elements of RPG to this game. Another little side note that really made me happy was the crab nets. Maryland blue steam crabs are my favorite food in the world, and crabbing on the Chesapeake Bay is something special in my family, and this game lets you go crabbing. You can actually save up enough money, buy some crab nets, drop them down, come back a few hours later, find a whole bunch of crabs and lobsters and things like that. So it's the little things that made me happy. This game also does an amazing job of not feeling too vast, like you're in the ocean and oh my gosh, it's unwieldy open world. No. Even though you're in the ocean, the game felt cozy enough to me, with 5 different zones, each with their own unique puzzles to solve. I never really felt like I was out to sea, so to speak. It had a cozy fishing village vibe to it the entire time, and it provided a fantastic level of creepiness that was perfect during this Halloween time for me. So let me know, have you played Dredge? Have you played this game? Are you planning to pick it up anytime soon? Thank you for letting me share this little sea salt tale with all of you, and thank you for subscribing. Happy Halloween, and we'll see you real soon.